I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. It is Tuesday, so today I am critiquing one of your original paintings or drawings. If you have an original painting or drawing that you would like to submit for critique, head over to my website, lachri.com/critiques, link below in the video description, and you can submit your work there. Today we are taking a look at this painting done by someone who wishes to remain anonymous. This painting was her first acrylic piece of a bird of paradise and a hummingbird. Starting off, the things that I really like about this piece are the contrast. I do like that you've got nice contrast between your background and your foreground. The greens and the reds just stand out really nicely against that blue. Your shading from the white near the bottom of the canvas up to the darker blue, very, very nicely done. Looks really great. Things that we can improve on with this painting. The first thing I would do on this is do it again, but start with a more accurate drawing. Really focus on making sure the curve of your leaves and the outline of the hummingbird are done more accurately. Because what's happening is the way that they're drawn, it gives it a very stiff feel. There's not a lot of movement in this. And you didn't send your reference photos, so I just did a Google image search and pulled up a couple of photos that we can use to compare. That'll just make it easier to understand what I'm talking about. So first I'm going to look at the flower itself. So besides the actual drawing, you can see on here, and I keep looking down because my tablet is in my hands, also plugged in because yet again I didn't charge it. Looking at the flower, the actual petals look like they could be elongated more, and really focus on the fact that they start out really thin, they get wider and then thin out quite a bit and just kind of taper off. It gives it a very elegant look. Right now the way that you've got it, they're a bit shorter and they're a bit more short. They don't have quite as much form. So just making those little adjustments on the shape, like really focus on the actual drawing, the outline before you start painting. The next thing on here is the contrast. I would love to see more contrast in this. And you can see on the sample photo, look at the darks, the really deep shadows. It just makes the greens pop that much more because it does have so much black. And a lot of times people will think, I don't want to put the shadows too dark because I want this to be bright and vivid. But what happens is if you don't have those shadows in there, that lack of contrast actually dulls the painting and the colors a lot. If you can get that high contrast with your darks right up against your bright vivid colors, it just makes them pop so much more. And you can see on the sample photo, these flowers really taper out. They just have a kind of elegant where they're really thick and they thin out quite a bit, and there's a slight curve there. Right now yours is very stiff, very, very straight. And just by adding these little minor details, it will give a lot more movement to your piece. The next thing, the flower petals themselves, you've got a lot of red in here, and if you make them more orange by adding more yellow into that color, that is going to give you a more bold, vivid color for the flower. And one of the nice things with painting the birds of paradise is that you're going for that bold, kind of almost obnoxious color. And so by adding some more yellow into this, you're going to achieve that better and get that nice vivid orange color. And with this one, I don't know where your reference photo came from, but if I was comparing to the sample that I found on Google Image, you can see these darker little petals that are towards the back of the flower. And that again is just going to make your contrast pop. The whole flower is just going to stand out a lot better. Moving on to the hummingbird, again, starting off with a strong drawing is so important. And I say this all the time, but if your drawing is not really accurate to start with, once you start painting, it's not going to get any better. Make sure you start with a very accurate drawing. So for this guy, I'm pretty sure he's a hummingbird, but I don't know for certain because his tail is not like any hummingbird I've seen. He's almost kind of a combination of a couple of birds. So I'm not sure if you were doing kind of a bird from your imagination or what. And this hummingbird that I've got as a sample is just kind of a generic hummingbird photo. I don't know what your reference photo was, so I'm not going to be too picky about the colors. I'm just looking at the outline of the bird. And so going back again to the movement, look at the difference in the shape, the wings, the way that they're positioned. Choosing the right wing position makes a big difference when you're doing birds that are flying. Even if your reference photo is exactly how your drawing is with the wings, I would change that and adjust it up just to give it more movement because they're so stiff. It's just kind of a weird position. So like I said, if it was how your reference photo was, I would adjust it so that your painting has more movement and you're improving on that photo. But this photo that I found is very similar to the positioning of yours. And then looking at the tail feathers, you can see, again, I'm assuming it's a hummingbird, not positive. If it is a hummingbird, their tail feathers tend to be a lot shorter, more stiff. And when you do birds, being that you put the detail that you did into your flower, then it would be best to match that detail on the bird, in which case paint each individual feather. And with acrylic, this is really easy to do because it does dry so quickly. You can get tons of detail. Use a liner brush and get each individual feather and shade them. Look really closely at your reference photo. When you're drawing and painting, especially when you first get started, you should be spending a lot more time looking at your reference photo and referring back to that than you are with the actual painting or drawing. And make sure that you get that drawing really accurate. And it's going to make a big difference in your overall finished piece. Your blending, I'm really impressed because acrylic is not easy to blend. You've done a great job with your blending on the overall piece. Being that this is your first acrylic painting, you are off to such a good start. I would just spend more time making sure that your drawing is accurate and more time developing the details a bit more and your contrast. But again, great work. Really impressed that this was your first piece. So you are only going to continuously get better from here. So great job. For any of you guys who would like to submit one of your original paintings or drawings for critique, head over to my website at lachri.com/critiques, link below in the video description, and you can submit your work there. I have new video critiques every Tuesday, my own speed paintings, drawings, and tutorials every Wednesday, and vlogs most weekends. So make sure you subscribe and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those social media sites to keep up with news and my newest work. Head back tomorrow where I will be doing a tutorial on skin tones and drawing hair in colored pencil. Many of the tips I will be giving you for that can also be applied for painting, so if you don't work in colored pencil, it still will be beneficial for you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow.